Following Cabinet's approval, the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition has implemented a 6-month ban on the trade of scrap metal in South Africa. KwaZulu-Natal Cogta MEC Sihle Zikalala has hailed the move to curb illegal trade in scrap metal, saying it will discourage criminal networks from damaging municipal infrastructure. According to the department, copper theft from the country's rail network and electricity grids cost the economy over 45 billion rands in the 2020-2021 financial year. Joining us now to discuss how the province of KwaZulu-Natal plans to enforce the ban is the province's Cogta MEC Sihle Zikalala. Mr. Zikalala, thank you so much for your time this evening. We really do appreciate it. We do know that your department has welcomed the ban. Have you had any reactions in terms of what the industry has to say with regards to the ban?
Well, thanks for having us in your program. Firstly, I believe that the industry is regulated. And the industry is not dependent on this material, the scraps in particular, because what we are saying is that this leads to a situation where people will vandalize and steal municipal infrastructure because they would want to sell. And therefore, we are insisting that we must tighten the regulations. If it's for us, the ban on these second or used metal and scraps could be banned because it will not help us to also discourage even the stealing of copper and cable. These affect municipalities. We have said and we continue to say municipalities should put aside at least 7%, at least 8% of their municipal infrastructure budget. They should reserve it for maintenance and operations. So if you look on maintenance, you end up doing one and the same thing because of the theft that takes place.
So, MEC, how much of an impact has this theft of infrastructure on metal, has it cost the province of KwaZulu-Natal in particular?
It cost the province, but it also cost municipalities, because municipalities have to provide water, have to provide electricity. And you will find that poles are cut because people want to steal the steel and go to sell it. It also affects, it's part of affecting water infrastructure, where people will also be cutting the steel to sell it. But we have also noticed that in some industrial areas, it will also affect the business operations, where people will be stealing copper in particular.
MEC, do you believe that a trade ban alone will help curb the issue of theft? Because some of the industry players have argued that some of this material, and specifically copper, can be melted and still that could still be exported. Would just the theft alone be curbed with banning the trade, or are there other measures that need to be taken in place to curb the theft? Because that's what we're primarily trying to deal with.
Yes. What is a problem is that the use of the scrap metal is creating, or it creates an environment where it is easy for criminals to steal. And therefore, if you stop it and regulate processing, if you've got a car, it's old, you want to sell it, it must be clear that it's no longer moving, you want to sell it, part of it. Where do you go? And that must be regulated clearly. And people must not say copper could be melted. If it could, let the industry be regulated on how to buy the copper that they would want, rather than this thing that has been happening.
The trade of metal also has a legal element to it, where we know that waste trolley pickers who earn anything between 50 rands and 100 rands per day trade in picking up sort of cans and making sure that they can make a living out of that. How much of an impact is this ban going to have on the legal side of things?
Well, I don't believe it will go to that extent of banning even waste pickers. It doesn't ban that, but it deals in particular with metal, anything that is metal. Of course, that you will get that some of these metal equipments will be found in some waste areas, and therefore those who sell it would benefit, but we don't believe it would have that impact. Because if people are selling on the basis that they get metal easy and through proper processes, they can then deliver it to where they are supplying it also properly. In this case, it has been an avenue of stealing the steel and copper.
So can you take us through what the immediate plan of the province is in ensuring that you start enforcing this ban?
Well, we are hopeful that, one, the police will be able to enforce the act. Secondly, we believe that they will be able to monitor, including all scrapyards, and ensure that there is nothing that is brought there to be sold illegally. And this also has been also part of causing criminals to steal cars, even in townships and our rural areas. So we believe enforcement will help us. Of course, the industry must be regulated. The industry must always be consulted on the process.
So, MEC, lastly, in this 6 months that the government will be trying to find their feet around this, do you foresee that there could be an extension of this ban, and what the impact thereof would be?
We believe that there should be an extension, but that extension should also include regulations that will then regulate how those who have scraps will be able to dispose of that. And that should be regulated clearly in a way that assists to prevent crime.
All right, thank you so much. That was the MEC for Cogta in the KZN province, Mr. Sihle Zikalala, speaking to us there about them accepting the 6-month ban on scrap metal trade.